Peppa Pig, George's birthday. It's George's birthday today. Mummy Pig hands George a box wrapped in green paper. Happy birthday, George, she says.
Dinosaur,
Cries George, pulling out a purple dinosaur.
Wow.
I knew it would be a dinosaur, Stinky, says Peppa. George waves the toy dinosaur at Peppa. Too scary, cries Peppa. Peppa has painted a card for George. I was going to paint a flower, says Peppa, but George does not like flowers, so in the end I painted a...
Dinosaur,
cries George. Mummy Pig tells George that they are going somewhere very special for his birthday treat. Yippee! Shouts Peppa. Where are we going? You'll see, says Daddy Pig. George's birthday treat is a visit to the dinosaur room at the museum.
Wow.
George loves dinosaurs. They are his favourite thing in the whole world. Not silly old dinosaurs again, groans Peppa. George stops in front of a big green dinosaur. He is standing on a yellow cross. There's a beep, and then roar! George jumps and begins to cry. It's not real, George, says Mummy Pig. Don't be frightened. It's just a robot, says Daddy Pig. Shouts George at the Robo-Dino. And there's another surprise, says Mummy Pig. All of Peppa and George's friends are here.
Hooray!
Happy birthday, George, says everyone. Mummy Rabbit has made a delicious birthday cake for George. I knew it would be a dinosaur cake, says Peppa. Mummy Rabbit laughs. What an amazing guess, Peppa. It's time for one last surprise, says Daddy Pig. Can you guess what it is? Something to do with dinosaurs, says Peppa. Everybody runs outside to see. It is a bouncy castle in the shape of a dinosaur. A bouncy dinosaur. George loves bouncy dinosaurs, and so does Peppa. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa and George's garden. Daddy Pig is sitting in his favourite sunny spot, reading a newspaper. What a perfect day for doing nothing, says Daddy Pig. The only thing that could make it better would be a cup of tea. He goes inside the house to make one. Grandpa Pig has come to see Peppa and George. You're going to have your very own flower garden, he tells them. Peppa and George are very excited. We need a nice sunny spot to plant your seeds, says Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig finds the perfect sunny spot and starts to dig Peppa and George's garden. When the garden is ready, Peppa and George will plant their seeds.
Hooray!
Oh, gasped Daddy Pig. What's going on?
We're making a flower garden,
says Peppa. But That's where I sit in my chair and read my newspaper, cries Daddy Pig.
Flowers are more important than chairs and newspapers,
says Peppa. It is time to plant the seeds.
Look, Daddy,
cries Peppa.
Wow.
Peppa has lots of flower seeds. George only has one flower seed, but it is a big one. Some birds have come to see what Peppa and George are doing. They start to eat the seeds.
Shoo, shoo,
calls Peppa.
Leave our flower garden alone.
Daddy Pig gets some water to help the seeds grow. As soon as they see Daddy Pig, the birds fly away.
Daddy scared the birds,
cheers Peppa. Grandpa Pig laughs.
Daddy Pig looks like a scarecrow.
Peppa, George, bath time, calls Mummy Pig.
But what if the birds come back?
asks Peppa. Don't worry, Peppa. I'll make sure the birds don't eat the seeds, says Daddy Pig. The birds come back again. Luckily, Daddy Pig is there to scare them away.
Hooray!
Shoo, shoo, naughty birds, cries Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig guards the seeds until the birds have gone to bed. He is a very good scarecrow. It is 1 week later. Peppa, George, come and look, calls Daddy Pig.
The seeds have grown, says Peppa. My flowers are so pretty.
And George's plant is very tall, says Daddy Pig.
It's a beanstalk,
cries Peppa.
It goes all the way up to a giant's castle.
Ho, ho, ho. No, Peppa, says Daddy Pig. It's a flower, but it does go quite high.
George's flower is taller than our house,
says Peppa.
Wow.
George has grown a sunflower, explains Grandpa Pig. Sunflowers are very tall plants. Well done, George, says Grandpa Pig.
And well done, Daddy, says Peppa. You were a great scarecrow.
The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa gets a vaccination. Mummy Pig was taking Peppa to the doctor for her health check and vaccination. Are we all ready? Said Mummy Pig.
Yes, said Peppa. I've got Teddy.
And I've got your red book, added Mummy Pig.
What's that?
asked Peppa. It's your very own book, said Mummy Pig. It helps doctors see how you're growing up.
Wow.
Hello, Peppa, said Dr. Brown Bear when they arrived. Have you come for your health check and vaccination?
Yes, said Peppa. I've brought my red book and Teddy too.
Very good, said Dr. Brown Bear. You're seeing Dr. Polar Bear today. Suddenly, a bell rang. Ah, that means she's ready to see you, explained Dr. Brown Bear.
Hooray!
Peppa and Mummy Pig walked into the doctor's office. Hello, said Dr. Polar Bear cheerily.
Who do we have here? I'm Peppa,
said Peppa.
And this is Teddy.
Lovely, said Dr. Polar Bear.
Now, did you bring your red book?
Peppa handed her book to Dr. Polar Bear.
Excellent,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
Let's start by seeing how tall you are,
said Dr. Polar Bear. She took Peppa over to the measuring stick. Peppa stood up very straight.
Wonderfully done,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
I'm a big girl now, Peppa said proudly.
Yes, you are, said Dr. Polar Bear. She got out her pen and wrote Peppa's height in the red book.
Now, Peppa, can you hop on these for me, please?
Said Dr. Polar Bear, pointing to her weighing scales. Peppa stepped onto the scales.
These scales tell us how heavy you are,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
Ooh,
said Peppa.
That's good,
said Dr. Polar Bear, writing in Peppa's red book again.
Now, it's time to use a stethoscope to listen to your heart,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
What is a stethoscope?
asked Peppa.
A stethoscope helps me hear your heartbeat.
Wow.
And the air going in and out of your lungs,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
I put this bit on your chest and listen through the earpieces. Peppa,
said Dr. Polar Bear,
would you like to listen to your heart beating? Yes, please,
cried Peppa. Dr. Polar Bear put the stethoscope earpieces on Peppa's ears.
said Peppa. It's going bumpy dump, bumpy dump, bumpy dump. Bumpy dump, bumpy dump, bumpy dump. Now it's your turn, Teddy,
said Peppa, putting the stethoscope's chest piece on Teddy's chest.
Is Teddy's heart going bumpy bump, bumpy dump, bumpy dump?
asked Dr. Polar Bear.
No,
said Peppa.
Teddy's heart doesn't do that because Teddy is a toy.
Oh, I see, said Dr. Polar Bear, smiling. Next, Dr. Polar Bear got out her special doctor's torch.
Wow.
I'm going to look in your ears now, she said. Dr. Polar Bear shone the torch into each of Peppa's ears.
said Peppa. That tickles.
Dr. Polar Bear checked carefully inside Peppa's ears.
That all looks lovely,
she said.
Now I'll check your mouth,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
I need you to open wide and say, ah.
Dr. Polar Bear opened her mouth and showed Peppa what to do.
Like this.
Ah! Peppa opened her mouth as wide as it would go and stuck her tongue out. She yelled very loudly.
Wonderful,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
Do you want to check my nose?
asked Peppa.
Thank you, Peppa,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
I can see that your nose is working very well.
Everyone laughed. Dr. Polar Bear put lots of ticks in Peppa's red book.
Now, it's time for your vaccination,
said Dr. Polar Bear.
Do you know why we have vaccinations, Peppa?
Peppa put her hand up.
Yes, they stop us from getting ill, and that helps the people around us too.
That's right, said Dr. Polar Bear, impressed.
Sometimes vaccinations are given as a little spray in your nose, and sometimes as a tiny pinprick in your arm.
Peppa held Teddy as Dr. Polar Bear gave her the vaccination. It was very quick.
Well done, Peppa,
said Dr. Polar Bear. Would you like a sticker now?
Oh, yes, please,
squealed Peppa, jumping up.
I love stickers.
Me too, said Dr. Polar Bear, smiling.
Are there any questions you want to ask me before you go, Mummy Pig?
said Dr. Polar Bear.
No, thank you, Doctor,
replied Mummy Pig.
I have a question,
cried Peppa.
Have you had your vaccination, Dr. Polar Bear?
Yes, Peppa, said Dr. Polar Bear.
Good. Then you can have a sticker too.
Peppa loves getting stickers from the doctor. Everyone loves getting stickers from the doctor. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.